gonna start with the rose here, and I wanna use the neutral gray number 8, and a small amount of white, and some Indian yellow. Probably a little bit of ultramarine blue. Tiny, tiny bit. All right. Okay, I'm gonna come in here and just try to lay down a light layer of this. I'm gonna add some water to my mixture. And then just paint along the lines of my drawing. And I'm gonna try to leave a little bit of space between the petals just so I can come back to it. I'm doing a light coat because I want some of that color to show through that's in the underpainting. Okay, so that's just loosely painted on there. I'm gonna let that dry and then I'll come back and add more layers. Okay, let's leave that alone. Wash my brush out. Now I'm gonna come in here to the green. And I'm gonna get sap green over here. And I'm gonna get a little bit of this red iron oxide here. And again, water it down a little bit. I still have some gray in that, which is okay. All right, so I'm gonna come in here and let's see, I'll do this side first. I'll paint these leaves. All right, now I'm gonna add a little bit of the Indian yellow to that mixture. Okay, and then I'm gonna come in here to the stem. All right, add a little bit more, probably some green gold to it. Let's just see what that does. All right, let's do the same thing onto the bud leaves here. Oh well, I'm gonna just leave that one. It's fine. Do another one behind it. There we go. All right, let's see if this is dry. Yes, this is dry, so I'll make sure my brush is really well washed here. Now I'm gonna add in some shadowy areas. So I'm gonna get a smaller brush and I'm gonna get, let's see. I think I'll get this one. This one is a number 4, the Royal Lane Nickel, number 4. All right. So I'm going to use that same mixture here. Make some more. I'm gonna add a little bit of the red iron oxide. Wash my brush. Get a little of the ultramarine blue, red iron oxide, And I think I'll do some green gold. A little bit too much. A little bit more ultramarine blue in there. All right, I'm gonna hold that up to see if it's a little bit darker. The color that I want to add a little bit more of the gray. Let's add a little bit of quinacridone magenta, just to dull it down a little bit. So I get a nice gray color, kind of a grayish green. Okay, I'm gonna go in here and add in my shadows. So I'm looking at my reference photo, and I'm just gonna paint them in. And here I'm just gonna draw kind of lines here. And there's some here on this end. And down along the side. And a shadow under here. Shadow along here. And a really deep one in here. All right, rinse my brush off here. Now I'm gonna lighten that up. I think I'll come over here more where it's more green. Add a little bit of ultramarine blue to it. I want it more blue. All right, and then come in here next to it. Just add a few little highlighted pieces along the edge. And this, as it dries, this is going to be a little bit more of a medium tone here. All right, now I think I'll give back this one. This one is a number 10 flat here. All right, I'm gonna add back the more warm tone. So I'm gonna use the Indian yellow. Add some white into that. All right, and then let's come in here, add some back in there. I'm just gonna paint here in the middle section. Just to bring it out a little bit more. And thicken it up. Then we'll go back and get that smaller brush, the number 4 Royal. And this time I'm gonna have almost white. Have a lot of white in there. And then I'm gonna come in here and go along the edges. I'll just swipe it. Towards the bottom. And here I just rinse my brush off and add a little bit of water onto it, almost like a watercolor. Here, dry my brush off and then just blend it a little bit. Okay, same thing, I'm gonna add here on this side. This is really light here, so I'm gonna add that, add the white. Okay, rinse my brush off. Add just a touch of water onto it. streak it down towards the bottom of the rose, and now I have a dry brush. I'm just blending that a little bit. All right, do the same thing again. On this petal right here, on the top of it, add some white. Okay, add a little tiny bit of water to my brush, but not, and then I wipe it off on the paper towel. I don't have much. And then I just bring it down. And then with some of the white that I have here, I'm just going to add some lines in the back. And then along here, along the outside of that. Along this little line here. And right here where it folds over. Little tip part here. And right here where it folds over. There's some back in here. Okay, let's do the leaves now. Let's work on this part here. So I'm gonna be adding some neutral gray, sap green, green gold, maybe a little bit ultramarine blue. Okay. And red iron oxide, just to dull it down. Okay. Put a little bit here. Put on this one. And a little bit on this one. All right, I'm gonna just wipe my brush off and I'm gonna grab some sap green. And I'm gonna come in here while it's still kind of wet, add a little bit here. Dry my brush off. And while that's wet, I have a dry brush here. I'm just going to blend the two together. Okay, do that again on this side while it's still wet. Dry my brush off. And then with little tiny strokes, just blend the two together. And I'm not going all the way up here to the green or to this green. It's just in the middle of those two. So let's do that here on this one. And I'm gonna turn my painting over here to the side so I can control it better. So I'm gonna put my sap green here, my darker green here. Dry my brush off on my paper towel. And then right here in the middle of the two, just kind of blend it out. And then right here where this is in the back, I'm just gonna add a little green part here. Okay. I'm adding the sap green here onto the stem and then gently just coming down. Try not to make the whole thing one color. Same here, where there's a shadow underneath the leaves here. I'm gonna make that stem dark. Wipe my brush off and then just kind of fade out. Okay, now let's add a little white to that mixture here. Some Indian yellow. Let's make that stem a little bit brighter. Wipe my brush off. Indian yellow and green gold. And go on the other side of it. And then just take whatever have I left on my brush and just come on down. And I'm going to grab the medium size is number 10 Royal Langnickel here. And I'm just gonna use the same mixture here, and it's very opaque because it's got white and the neutral gray number 8 in it. And I'm gonna start right here in the back here. Maybe some Indian yellow in there. Wipe my brush off, come in here to the dark on that side. All right, grab some of that light and blend it over a little bit. Excellent. All right, I like how the rose color is showing up, and some of the red iron oxide and the magenta is peeking through there. I love that. All right, so now let's work on the background. And on the background, I'm going to make it kind of a frosty kind of grayish color. So let me grab the 3/4 inch flat, and this one 3/4 inch flat Royal. Okay, so I'm gonna grab some ultramarine blue and put it over here, and some neutral gray. Now I want to dull it down, so I'm gonna add the opposite, which is orange, and the closest thing I got to orange over here is the red iron oxide. And you can see it went straight to like a gray color. Okay, that's a nice color, but I want it lighter. So I'm gonna add some more of the neutral gray. And then let's see, I think it's not enough contrast. So go back and mix some more. All right, let's check that out. That looks a little bit of a contrast. We'll add some water right in there. I want it thinned down. So I'm just dipping my brush into my water bowl and then just adding it in there. All right. Let's see. Yep. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of sap green to it. I want it to harmonize with the leaves. All right, that's a pretty color. Okay, let's come in here and start adding it in there. And I'm doing big, bold strokes. And I'm gonna add some more water on my brush. Want it really thin. It's okay if I let some of the color underneath show through. And this time I think I'll just add some water on my brush. I did not go in the color. It's just pure water. I'm going along the edge. Okay, I'm gonna flip it over so I have a little bit more control over here. pure water on my brush. I'll come in here and just add a light coat. All right, to get in these little tiny pieces here, I think I'm gonna have to switch brushes. Okay, let me switch to a smaller brush. All right, now right here, I'm gonna change the color up a little bit. I'm gonna have a little darker over here. And then go back to the normal. Let's grab some neutral gray. I'll just add a little bit of brighter color. About right in here. Here I change colors again. And I just like doing that just to give the eye more interest to look at, so it's not so flat. And right here, since I don't have anything small to worry about, I'm just going to use my big 3/4 inch flat. Okay. All right, we're gonna let that dry a little bit and then we'll come back to it. All right, it's still slightly wet, but I'm gonna go ahead and come in here and fix some of the stems here. So I'm gonna grab sap green into this mixture here, green gold, maybe a little bit of white. Okay. Let's add some in here. And maybe right here. Because I still love how the under layer shows through. I really love that. And maybe darker up in here. All right, wipe my brush off a little bit, blend some of that out. And I think on this tip right here. So you can see that. And maybe under here. All right, a little bit dark, just a little bit on my brush right here, and again, dark right here where it hits the rose. So contrasting there. All right, that's great. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do some tiny details. So I'm gonna get out my script liner or a liner brush here. Get some water on it, and I'm gonna go here to the pure white. And I'm going to add a little water to my brush so it's thinned down a little bit so I get a nice thin line. And then I twirl it on there so I get a nice point. Okay, I'm gonna come in here and add where the highlights are. So we'll start on this side. Right there. Do it again. Right here on this one. A little piece right there. And right there. Nice twirl. And then this one right here is, I'm gonna go a little bit curvy there. And then a little bit on this one. And again, I'm not making it so straight because I want a fatter, and it's gonna go thin. Hope I got green in there. That's okay. All right, that's enough. You don't want to get too much because then it looks like it's too outlined. All right, and let's add some highlights on the leaves. I'm just adding white to that. Again, twirl my brush and have it kind of watery, but not too watery. And then I'm gonna add some little pieces here. Maybe one right here. Highlight right there. Let's have one right here. Oops, it didn't get pointy. Now that got kind of thick, so I need to blend this out right here.